great tour of some students at the STEAM school, which we were reflecting on when I was lieutenant governor and saw the original plans for this, and it was built in 2017. So it's really been fun to see how they're rethinking education and really engaging kids and planning out their own futures and being stimulated in so many ways where they otherwise would not have been. So I'm really happy to be here. I want to thank our Attorney General, Tish James, for just being the strong, stalwart bulwark against a lot of things that require toughness and stamina and the ability to just do what's right. And we're so honored to have you as our Attorney General representing 20 million New Yorkers. Thank you. Assemblymember Lily Rosick, known you a long time as well, and appreciate your commitment to fighting for our children, their mental health, and really pushing back on those who say change is not possible. So thank you. And our borough president, another longtime friend, Antonio Reynoso, I thank you for caring so deeply about this borough. You're so passionate about it, and I've admired your leadership for such a long time, so thank you. And we have our Giallo Shabazz, CEO of Brooklyn Steam, Liz Foley, the Director of Advocacy, Common Sense Media. We've done so much together. And all the parents and students who joined us today to talk about topics that other states could lead, but guess what? New York is always first. We're proud of that. When we become aware of problems, we don't just do a lot of hand-wringing. We figure out how we can listen first. This is how I operate. I go around the state. I gather parents and young people and educators and people who care deeply about our children. But we have that's how I have shaped their state's response to many of the challenges we're facing, and always being the national standard. Others look to us for leadership, and that's why there's a special responsibility on all of us to get it right. And when we talk about what getting it right looks like in a couple of minutes, but we're doing things like finally breaking the grip that cell phones have on our students. I just came out of a classroom. We noted that nobody had a cell phone. I said, that's because you're not allowed to. Because after a year of going around the state, doing all this convening, as I just mentioned, it became so apparent to me that our children's mental health, our teenagers' mental health was just in a spiral. Pandemic-driven partially, but the other part was they were captive to all the negative messaging, the bullying from other students, but also the bombardment of social media algorithms that they did not ask for, that are just constantly drawing their attention away from being a student or someone who can communicate in person with others. The human connectivity has been lost in schools, and we knew we had to do better. So we stopped the relentless barrage of reels and posts, and it's just about one simple premise, like reclaiming a childhood for our kids and let them have that carefree experience that most of us grew up with. So when I came into office, I said it was a full-blown mental health crisis, did my listening tours, and as New York's first mom governor, it was really sad to see that kids were depressed and suicidal. I went to one grade school, and the mental health professional there said that she has appointments with third and fourth graders who are feeling very depressed and anxious all the time, and every one of them had a cell phone in their hands, holding them captive. So we proposed the first of its kind law to shield kids from addictive feeds. And yes, there's a lot of opposition to that. There are a lot of forces that did not want us to take this on. But we said we have to protect them. And the corporations lined up against us, millions of dollars and efforts and lobbying and all the other pressure points that we're so accustomed to. But we built an unstoppable coalition. When you're on the right side of an issue, it is empowering. And we harnessed that power to spread the message to more around the state and brought, as I said, teenagers and parents and educators and the young people who spoke up about the toxicity of social media. And when it came to the cell phones and what was going on, I'll never forget being in a school library listening to one young woman who said, we can't put down the cell phone. They said, just stop using the cell phone and the social media platform. You can stop. She says, you have to save us from ourselves, because we cannot be the social outcasts, the only one, the first one. But we know it's wrong. We know how damaging it is. We see it in our friends, and we did take those steps. but it was the voices of the people who stood up, and Common Sense Media has been an important partner in our legislators. So in June of 2024, I signed the Safe for Kids Act. It stands for Stop Addictive Feeds Exploitation, and I want to thank two leaders in our legislature, Senate Member Nili Rosick, who did not give up despite the opposition, and our Senate partner, Andrew Guinardis. Two real leaders, two champions, and I'm always grateful for their support. So we signed that, and today we're taking a huge step forward to be implementing that law. And I want to thank the Attorney General for her team and the resources and the time. When you're the first, you know you have to get it right. There's no room for mistakes, because the lawyers are lining up to attack and try to defeat you in court. So everything must be litigation proof, and the thought process that has to go into it, knowing that the rest of the nation is watching the product of not just the law, but the regulations that actually implement it, which are critically important. So age confirmation is everything. I'll never forget social media companies telling me we have no way of knowing whether someone's under 18 or not. I said, you're smart people. Use AI to figure it out. Ask how you do it. And you're not supposed to allow underage gaming anyhow, sports betting, so you must have some metric. So don't tell me you can't do it. Figure it out. And making sure that under the age of 18, you cannot be subjected to the addictive algorithms that deliver the harmful content. So under 18, your feed can only include accounts that you follow, that you choose, not sitting there as just a victim of this all bombardment, that you actually will have a choice of what you see. No notifications overnight. Our young people need to sleep. How many hours of sleep are they getting? And I had nieces go through this, and all night long. I said, how do you have friends from across the world? I mean, well, they're up at the same time I am. It's like, that's because you're up at 3 o'clock in the morning. You should not have friends across the world. So we talked about that. The Attorney General would talk about how age verification will work, but here's the bottom line. Social media companies, you're now on notice. The regulations are done. You have 180 days to come into compliance. Once the law takes effect in January, any platform that attempts to bombard our young people with addictive feeds or to monetize their mental health, which is exactly what's going on, will face legal action. That's part of a larger mission to rein in big tech. We've also passed laws to protect children's personal data, shielding them from AI chatbots and predators on gaming sites and other platforms. So this is just one element of what we've been doing, and it requires us to constantly be vigilant. We think we're ahead of the game right here. Well, another avenue comes up, another site, another tactic. And so we're not done with this. We know that. But these companies who know that this is harmful with their own children, and yet for purposes of making the almighty dollar, are trying to harm our own kids, we're putting them on notice. Just don't go there, because you will be stopped in the state of New York under this leadership. It's also, as I mentioned, the smartphone is the other part of the problem. I will just say I'm so proud of what we accomplished in doing something that I was told cannot happen in the state of New York. There's too many forces against us. Liz knows what I'm talking about. State education department didn't want it. People were anxious. Parents didn't want to have that loss of connection to their students until we told them that law enforcement says the last thing you want your child to be doing if there's ever a shooting incident or any kind of crisis on campus is to be having them look for their cell phone or have the cell phone go off during this, revealing your child's location, and wrong information is being transmitted to law enforcement. So I thank law enforcement who stood with us over a year and a half of persuading parents that your child is safer without this during a crisis. So it's been amazing. Finally, we're seeing kids be lighthearted, laughing, making friends, playing games. Kids playing chess and checkers and just bringing Polaroid cameras, which I didn't know anybody knew what they were anymore, but because they still want pictures of their friends, and so it's really heartwarming to see what's happening in classrooms now. And I'm sorry it took a decade before any leader stepped up and said, this is wrong. This should not be happening. So our data shows great success. And lastly, I'll just say this, just to show how far we've come in New York, seizing this issue aggressively. New York State was ranked #1 in the nation by the Anxious Generation Movement for keeping kids safe online. Now, they say we're also tied with Utah. Okay, we're tied with Utah too. But #1, the largest state for sure that did this, and I hope other states follow. I hope they follow with the cell phone ban. I hope they follow with every single thing that the Attorney General is going to talk about, because our kids are looking to us as the adults to save them from themselves, and we're responding, yes, we will. We will. So thank you, everyone who's part of this conversation. Look forward to hearing perspectives. But first of all, let's hear from our Attorney General, who got us here today by working so hard on these regulations. So our Attorney General, Tish James.
I want to thank Governor Hochul for her unwavering commitment to children. And, of course, I want to thank in his absence Senator Andrew Gennardis and, of course, my very good friend, Assemblymember Rosick, who worked with my team to turn this bold idea into a nation-leading law. I want to thank Borough President Reynosa for all that he is doing, connecting with young people, not only in Brooklyn, but all throughout the city of New York. And, of course, I want to thank Common Sense Media for all that they have done leading the charge in regards to this area, and all the parents who are here, and all the young people who are here. We learn so much from young people, and we truly want to thank them. To all of the parents and young people, and the educators and the health professionals and advocates who shared their stories and demanded action, today belongs to you. What drew me to this issue, of course, was the force of Governor Hochul. But when we started reading studies, research shows that children between the ages of 10 to 14-year-old experience addictive use of social media. And in a review of over 100 studies involving children, adolescents, and teens, social media use was associated with higher rates of depression and anxiety. And I experienced it recently, well, not recently, last year, in regards to a neighbor whose daughter was suffering from anxiety and could not get off of her phone. She had to be admitted into a local hospital, and unfortunately, she was unable to get a bed until I stepped in. It shouldn't take an Attorney General to step in to get a psychiatric bed for a child. That's another issue. But the point is that just taking her phone out of her hands caused her great, great anxiety. And we obviously needed to get together to get to work to focus on this issue. 2 years ago, we stood together to sign the Safe for Kids Act into law, and today we are taking the critical step by issuing final rules that turn the promise of that law into clear, workable protections for our children, because for far too long, social media companies have used these powerful, addictive algorithms to keep young people scrolling one after another after another. They've lost all social skills, and it's unfortunate that this endless stream of content chosen not because a child asked to see it, but because it would keep them on the platform longer. That was the goal. That was the purpose. It was not about the healthcare needs of the child. It was about, obviously, the bottom line for these social media companies, keeping children on these platforms longer. Extensive research has connected these algorithms to depression, to anxiety, to eating disorder, to disrupted sleep, and also to other serious harms, such as how one defines beauty in our nation. Our children should not be treated as sources of profit for the largest technology companies in the world. And under the final rules released today, covered platforms cannot provide addictive, algorithmic, personalized feeds to users under 18 without parental consent. Without parental consent, putting parents in charge once again. They also cannot send minors notification between midnight and 6 a.m. without that consent. Children need to sleep. Sleep is so fundamentally important and critical to a child's growth and to their development, and they need to sleep. And unfortunately, when we spoke to so many teachers, oftentimes teachers would tell us the children would fall asleep in the middle of the day because they were not sleeping at night. We need to turn off the notifications, again, from 12 to 6 a.m., and that's exactly what this bill does. This law does not ban young people from social media, and it does not restrict what they can say or see. This is not a question of privacy. This is a question about content. This is not about the First Amendment. Again, this is about protecting children and ensuring that they are kept safe. Children can still connect with their friends. They can follow creators. They can search for topics. They can access the same content. What changes is the default. Platforms cannot automatically place minors into feeds engineered to maximize engagement. Let me say that again. Platforms cannot automatically place minors into feeds engineered to maximize engagement, which means maximize profits. The rules also establish strong and flexible standards for determining age verification, and those standards are obviously standards that we thought were critical. And companies may choose amongst these different methods, but these methods must be accurate. They must be regularly tested and protective of privacy. Platforms can offer an alternative to a government-issued ID, collect only the minimum information necessary, and delete that information immediately after it is used. They cannot use that information, again, to maximize their profits. We listened carefully throughout this process, and we're listening today. The governor has held listening sessions all throughout the state of New York, and again, she should get credit for, again, protecting our children, not only in this area, but in so many areas, and obviously her work is not completed. My office received 78 public comments and considered concerns about privacy, security, free expression, and implementation. It's important to note that a number of these comments came from the industry. Mm-hmm. The final rules reflect that input while preserving the law's central purpose, protecting our children and young people online. These rules will be published in the State Register on Wednesday, and the law will take effect on January 25th, 2027. New York is once again leading the nation in sending big tech a clear message. When your products put children at risk, you will have to act. You will have to get beyond the grandma of the government, Grandma Hochul, and the Attorney General, who has adopted all children in the state of New York. Mm-hmm. They all belong to me, and I look forward to our conversation this morning and to hear what this nation-leading legislation means to all of the individuals around this room and so many New Yorkers and parents who are concerned about their children's health. We join with you today. And again, I thank everyone for being here, and I thank everyone for their input. Governor?
I think we're ready to begin the conversation. Were you going to comment now, or do you want to say something during the conversation? Yeah, and I thank you so much for your perseverance, assigned member. Liz Foley from the Common Sense Media Organization, which is nationwide, but also pushing all of our states to do even more, and I thank you for that, but I appreciate you willing to facilitate the conversation with our individuals here today.
Thank you, Governor Hochul. Thank you, Attorney General James. Thank you both for being such amazing champions for New York kids. Common Sense Media is really proud to gather this group of parents and young people to have this important conversation today. As you've heard, these groundbreaking regulations just being announced, they're going to go a long way in protecting New York kids. They're setting a national standard that other states should follow. And they're going to do this in two ways. One is by curbing addictive social media feeds that keep kids scrolling endlessly for hours each day. And second, they're going to limit late-night notifications. As we've talked about, kids need sleep. Developing brains need sleep. Kids should not be getting notifications at 2 or 3 a.m. You're going to hear from parents today that are doing everything they can to protect their family online in an ever-changing digital world. You're also going to hear from young people who are going to be directly impacted by this law once it goes into effect. So before we start, though, I just want to say thanks again to both of you. It's because of your efforts, it's because of the efforts of Assemblymember Rosick that New York continues to be a leader in protecting kids online.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liz.
With that, I'd like to first turn it over to Bernice. Bernice, you're a parent that's helped us pass this law. You've been involved in this effort in the last 2 years.
What happened?
She might be having a seizure.
Seizure? Anybody have a
Where somebody is having a fever.
epilepsy or? Yeah, water. Little sugar.
You're standing up too long.
Yeah.
You need people to sit down to sit.
It's okay. Yeah. She diabetic? Here. Here's one.
This is cold.
With these issues, if you could talk about your experience and how you've really tried to work with your daughter on her challenges in social media, and also what does this law mean to you?
Yeah, thank you for having me. Good morning, Attorney General James, Governor Hochul. As Liz said, my name is Bernice Tsai, and when I got involved in this fight to protect my daughter from social media, she was about 14 years old. That was a few years ago. And first off, I just want to say thank you. At a time when I think, confidence in government taking action is not at its highest, I've been so impressed and so moved by the decisiveness and the quickness in which you've tackled this issue, which I think for many of us a couple of years ago really felt like a crisis situation. So thank you. When social media came into my daughter's life, it quickly went from being an occasional activity where she was doing a dance on TikTok to becoming this addictive, soul-sucking black hole. And that was just in a matter of 6 to 8 months because, as you both acknowledged, the algorithms are incredibly powerful, especially for a young developing mind. So it was shocking and very difficult to see her spiral from being a radiant, vibrant kid to becoming what I would say was almost like zombie-like, laying on the couch in her room for hours, staring at a screen, just scrolling. Very difficult to get her up and get her engaged. But at the same time, she was lonelier, she was less engaged, she was less alive as a human being. So that was very difficult to see. She went through several years, what I would describe as sort of a depressive state. She experienced body dysmorphia, which you referenced, and she oftentimes questioned her value and worth as a human being. There were times when she would say to me, "Is this what life is?" Like in the most sad way, and it was very hard to see her go through that. She was a teenager, and those years, as many of us know, are the most vulnerable. You're seeking your identity, you're trying to figure out, do you belong? Are you good enough for the world? And she was receiving these deliberate, intentional messages over and over from these platforms telling her she was not good enough. She needed to change. She needed to buy this product or do this thing to become someone other than herself. How discouraging for us to let that happen. I could not believe that companies and the leaders of these companies were allowed to profit off of a strategy that would exploit millions of kids and just crush their souls along the way. As a mother, I would do anything for my daughter, but facing these big tech, these powerful algorithms, it was distressing and it was very discouraging. And it was one of the most difficult challenges of my life. I often felt hopeless, and frankly, I often felt ashamed that I was failing her. So to find partners in the both of you, just the incredible speed at which you took a no-nonsense approach to this and getting it into action so quickly, it was unbelievable, and I was grateful and encouraged, and I felt a lot of hope for the future. My daughter is 18 now. She'll be leaving for college in just a few weeks. So in reality, she will not benefit from some of the, the changes that are going into action. But I will say that when this hit the news last year, and when we talked about it, and when phones were coming out of schools, we had so much conversation, and it really impacted her. To what you both said, she was like, the adults are back. The adults are taking control. They care. They're doing something. They are prioritizing us over the companies and what the companies want to do. So I want to say thank you to your teams and you both. I'm incredibly grateful. I know that she's going to take that message into her life going forward as she becomes a young adult. And I want to thank you for listening to us and seeing the suffering of my daughter and many other children and taking it seriously and not being willing to tolerate it, and sort of resetting the rules for how we're going to engage on this kind of topic going
thank
forward.
you.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Bernice. Next, we're going to hear from Anne-Marie Lassie. Anne-Marie, you have a background in tech. If you could talk a little bit about how your background has impacted the way that you approach these issues with your own family.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Governor Hochul, and thank you, Attorney General James. This is an incredible day. Thank you. I love my child more than anything, and it's my number one job in this world, is being their mom. Nearly 30 years ago, I began studying technology in college. That was before YouTube, before social media, before smartphones, before algorithms that learned to study our behavior and determine what content would keep us engaged. And I share that because both my undergraduate and master's education and much of my life's work has centered around technology empowerment. Today, I lead an organization that teaches people how to use technology to access education, careers, economic opportunity. I believe deeply in the power of technology to improve people's lives. And yet, in my own home, I have struggled to keep my own child safe online, and that absolutely breaks my heart as a parent. And I echo what was said. My child is like millions of other children, growing up in an era none of us experienced before social algorithms were influencing how they see themselves, their friends, and the world around them. Like so many parents, I allowed access to social media too young. An iPhone too young, algorithmically driven content too young. I made these decisions while balancing trust, independence, safety, so I thought, and the reality that these technologies have become a part of my child's social world. Before there was research around age restrictions and laws like the one we're here to discuss, but I learned something difficult. The combined power of algorithms, addictive technology, peer pressure, youth culture, it is all more powerful than one parent or one family, and we cannot combat it alone. I see it in every moment. Kids reaching for their phones before they're awake, as we talked about, staying up late scrolling through videos, becoming absorbed that they're watching the world around them seems to disappear. And despite my technology background, I often have no idea what content is actually being fed to my own child, despite trying as hard as I can. And that's what frightens me most. I can lock down a phone, I can set limits, I can monitor apps, I can talk constantly about online safety, but I cannot sit side by side the algorithm and see video by video, message by message, what it is learning about my child. Not only what is my child learning, but what it is learning about my child and choosing to put in front of them or understand what those thousands of small interactions my child is having is teaching them. And the data being collected about my child may live on servers for longer than their own memories of the content they watched. A child may forget a video almost immediately while a platform remembers that they watched it and how long they watched it and what they clicked next, and uses those signals to decide what to show them tomorrow. That should concern every parent. Our children should not be participants in a massive social experiment in which commercial platforms have unprecedented access to their attention, thoughts, vulnerabilities, and developing identities, while parents have remarkable little visibility and are left in the dark. This isn't about villainizing technology. I have dedicated my life and my career to technology empowerment. But I want my child to inherit all the extraordinary opportunities technology and AI will create. You know this. Parents need help, and we are so grateful. We need stronger protections, meaningful safeguards, greater transparency, better parent education, and real protections around AI and chatbots. Most importantly, technology companies should bear some responsibility for creating environments that are developmentally appropriate for children, rather than placing the entire burden on parents and kids. Today, that's changing. Thank you. Governor Hochul and Attorney General James, your leadership in protecting children online will go down in the history books of New York State as one of the most important efforts to protect children and their safety. I hope the work happening today is only beginning. Our kids deserve the opportunity to grow up, make mistakes, discover who they are, and eventually leave parts of their childhood behind. They deserve a childhood in which their attention and vulnerabilities are not commodities, and their digital histories don't follow them forever. My hope today is that we are finally beginning to see the online safety pendulum swing back towards safety and sanity, and I cannot thank you enough from the bottom of my heart.
Can I just add just something on that? The other issue that came to our attention and we solved for this in the most recent legislation we got through was having parental controls be the default setting. Because I can't expect parents and family members that I have who are in technology with teenagers who say, I don't know what they're on, so I don't know how to block it. And I don't want to take the time. They might be on 20 platforms. I don't know how to go to 20 platforms and block it. So in New York, it'll be an automatic default setting to parental controls. If a parent wants to lift it, they can. I'm not sure why they would want to, but just one more way. They were just trying to help parents stay ahead of this. And thank you for your really heartfelt remarks.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you so much, Anne Marie. Next, we're going to hear from one of the students in the room. Jaden, you go to school here at Brooklyn STEAM. It also sounds like you are also online. You're using social media. Talk about how you balance your social media use with your other interests.
Well, thank you, Attorney General James and Governor Hochul, for having me here. Thank you to everyone coming out today. It is amazing to see what a wonderful community we have come to combat the addictive technology that is today. In my personal use using social media, I have always personalized, and I always show my feed based on what I want to do in my life. I want to be a cybersecurity analytics. I want to open my own cybersecurity firm. So I look at a lot of technical content around cybersecurity or anything technical in general. Recently, I did happen to find out ChatGPT happened to break into a company and actually hack that company itself. And it's a little concerning, but at the end of the day, it is how the users do manage it. Me, myself, I always tell myself, sometimes I even get tired of my phone in general. I just throw it on my bed and let me go do something else. And most of the time I'm on my laptop, researching, doing actual stuff that will benefit me in the end of the day. And one of the ways that have also helped me was the STEAM Center as well. Being able to come here and learn about cybersecurity myself was a wonderful experience. And even it was a wonderful experience to the point where I completely forgot about the phone. I didn't even care about it till literally I walked out. So.
No, amazing. Really good story.
Denora, I want to turn to you next. I'm curious about your experience in monitoring your family's social media use. You're also the executive director of DoSomething.org, and I'm curious what your members say about online safety issues.
Thank you for inviting me to be a part of this conversation. First and foremost, Governor Hochul and Attorney General James. I'm proud as a mother and as a native New Yorker to be a New Yorker in this moment. In my home, I often call myself the internet police, right? So I am the person who's responsible for taking the phones at night so my children don't sleep with electronics in their room. There's a cutoff time. If there's no homework that Marley or her younger sister Layla are doing, there's no reason to have a phone in your room or a computer. And so that is a big responsibility, right? In addition to running the largest online platform for young people who care about doing good, I'm responsible for my two younger children. I have an older 29-year-old who I had as a young adult myself. And I think even just about the juxtaposition of that. In this moment, what this legislation will do, not only to put New York in the vanguard, but to actually put a marker down for America. We are lagging. This is the first time in American history we were giving children over to any product that's come to the market. I grew up in the summers. Many of us may remember watching a lot of TV. But what happened on TV during the time that young people were watching TV? Content was regulated. So we knew what was on TV at 4 o'clock after school. A lot of PSAs about responsible behavior and cartoons. What wasn't on TV or what wasn't on TV at that time were things that could harm us in a meaningful way because the government took a stance. And so I just want to applaud you, commend you, but also celebrate your leadership for taking a bold stance to protect New Yorkers and young New Yorkers in particular. Young New Yorkers whose brains aren't fully developed. So even when we talk to our children about responsible behavior, they can hear us and 5 seconds later it's out of their brains because they are engaging in behavior that is developmentally appropriate. And so this legislation will take a really bold and hopefully formative stance for America that we have to protect our children again. I'm happy that in January I will take off my LinkedIn profile that I'm the internet police because there will be regulations in place and legislation in place to protect our children, but also that we will give our children a chance to be children again. And Marie, to your credit, I'm not a technology expert, but I've downloaded the apps that are supposed to regulate the content, and you get all these alerts, right? And I could spend my whole day looking at the alerts and then deciphering whether the alert is meaningful or not. What content did they actually see? Is it explicit or did they say, a mildly bad word? And so that will relieve us of some of that responsibility, but also make sure that our children get to be children again. So again, kudos and applause there. Liz noted that I run the largest online platform for young people who care about doing good. Do Something's been around since 1993. We've mobilized over 8.5 million young people into young adults, helped them find their voice, but also find ways to get engaged. And yet, we are a digital-first platform, so I can't hide from the responsibility of making sure that our content is engaging in people in ways that are responsible, but also, more importantly, getting them back into community. So we've got 1 million active 13 to 25-year-olds on our platform. Every area code in the United States, 189 countries abroad, they're coming to our platform to find something to do. And that starts first and foremost with being of service to their communities in ways big and small, but also registering their peers to vote. We've done a lot over the last 5 years. I came on board really focused on how do I meet the needs of today's youth, Gen Z and Gen Alpha. So in my home, there's a lot of focus grouping that happens with my 2 young children, but also thinking about what we're seeing in the real world. I am saddened to say, even as someone who leads the largest online platform for young people, the number one issue we've heard young people say they care about is their mental well-being. We are not a mental health organization, but we've had to get our own bona fides and partner with organizations who have that expertise so we can equip young people to safely and smartly use technology for good, including our platform. And so what we hear them say is, please help us. Please give us ways to get back out into community and do good. And so we've done a lot of that work. So yes, we have over 100 actions young people can take to get engaged and volunteer in their community. But what we most importantly are focused on is getting young people off the screen. So we want them to come to do something, find something to do, pun intended, and then get into community and do it with their peers. And what we're seeing is that that is contagious. Every time a young person comes to our platform, they are taking an action in real life and getting 3 to 4 of their peers to join them in doing that. So this legislation will go a long way also to helping inspire young people around the country that they can join the cause for good to helping their states help regulate in the way that New York has done. So thank you again for your leadership. I look forward to linking arms with you all to help spread the cause around the world.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you, Nora. Thank you for the amazing work that you do.
Yeah.
I want to turn next to Twadir. You're also a student here at Brooklyn STEAM. What's been your experience online?
Okay, thank you, Governor Kathy Hochul, Attorney General Ms. James. I appreciate you for having me here.
Thank you.
I would like to speak on my experience on social media. I'm just like Jaden. I'm a person who actually uses social media for their own benefit. So basically, throughout high school, that was when I first got my phone. So like in the 9th grade, I got my first phone. I didn't even have a service line on it. It was like I was limited to Wi-Fi basically. So like, because my mom didn't trust me enough. But it's because I have strict parents, so I really thank them for that because I was able to have an actual childhood and like get to watch these shows that are like coming on at 4 o'clock. I knew like when SpongeBob was coming, Loud House, all of that. Like I was always waiting to go home. But also throughout my time in middle school, I was locked in because of COVID. So it basically shifted me towards PlayStation, gaming. Like it helped me meet a lot of new people because I'm a very social person. So I feel like my experience is very great because I got to meet a really good set of people that I still talk to this day, and I got to actually meet them online, and they're like really good people. So, and they were really in my certain age group, so I was able to like connect with them. So I really thank them for that as well. But also throughout my time in high school, I've been more so on the social end. I've been using my phone. I've been using all these apps. I've been basically to make connections, basically use it for the benefit. Like, I'm a person who just likes to have fun. I go on TikTok from time to time. I doom scroll for a couple hours. I won't lie, but I know when to limit myself. So basically, throughout high school, I was really like limited on access opportunities because of middle school. So like when it comes to my education, so I used the AI to help actually further my education. I hope to benefit myself. And basically, all my algorithms, I guess it just came along with it. It just started helping me because even when it comes to gaming, I want to get good at a certain game. All these feeds, I guess it just fed my brain, but it helped me in a way that I wanted to develop. But I know when to step it down because even till now, I know when to step it down because me and Jaden were both in the same apprenticeship program. Me and a group of our friends, we all decided this entire summer we're going to hit the gym right after. We know when to put the phone down. It was a group of us, like 5 of us. We hit the gym every single day right after work. Just all go on the same train. We do this. We know when to get our minds off of stuff, and we get food right after. Just talk. Just like that's basically all we do. So it's like, yeah, that's basically my experience on social media.
That's great.
All right. Thank you, Jadir. Thank you for sharing. Andrew, I want to turn to you next. You're a parent that's been engaged on these issues for many years. You're a council member with Common Sense Media. Thank you. So I'm curious what your own experience has been like with your family, and also what are you hearing from other parents in your network?
Sure. So thank you to Governor Hochul and Attorney General James, and to the legislators who I know have been working and we've had a lot of meetings with. My name is Andrea DiPasquale, and I'm a mom of 2 middle schoolers here in New York. And when I first started out trying to figure out technology for my kids, I thought, well, there has to be a better way. This is seeming impossible. So I'll just go talk to other parents who probably already figured this out. And what I came to conclude is nobody figured it out, and everybody was trying to understand what to do. So I turned to Common Sense Media, and I partnered with other parents in my children's school. And what started as a personal journey turned into a way to broaden my commitment to help other people, because we all wanted to do it together and nobody knew where to start. So I co-founded several digital media committees, and I created coalitions between school administrators and parents so that we could work together to do it together. And something I've really learned from my work with parents is that they're tired. They're really tired. They're trying to do so much to help their kids learn technology, and they're having the conversations. They're working on digital literacy. They're trying to help their kids understand self-regulation, and they're setting a lot of parental controls, and they're really trying to balance sort of the safety and not wanting to socially isolate their children. And so it feels hard to lighten the mental load of digital parenting. And so just when you figure out one access point that you can close, 3 other open up. And so, one thing that I've really come to understand is that trust is really important. And, with my own children and with all the parents that I have been having conversations with, especially in middle school. So in middle school, you want to build that trust so that when something goes wrong, which they're gonna do something, they come to you. And I think that has become really hard because there's essentially a system that is designed to work against you and work around you. And the thing that I've really thought about is that it turned into sort of a crack between what you're trying to teach your children and what the algorithm wants from them. And so it's really hard for them sometimes to adhere to what you're asking of them when the algorithm is pushing them to do other things. So I think, the vigilance at home can't offset what the algorithms are doing. And so a couple of things that have become really important to me in this work that you all are doing are delivering relief and hope for parents. I think that, you're not leaving families to navigate the fallout on their own, which we're so grateful for. And, parents are still going to do a lot of work on this. But the way I've really thought about it is that you're closing the loopholes that families can't close on their own. That was impossible for families to do, no matter how many hours a week they put into trying to do it. And I think that feels like real safeguards, which I don't think we've really felt like was going to be possible in this industry for a long time. And so for me as a mom, And as somebody who's talked to a lot of parents and feels like this is, like such an important piece of their childhood, like what happens with technology, I think we're all so invested in helping kids to build healthy relationships with technology and healthy relationships with each other. And I think that is the piece that I kind of just keep going back to, which is this is a chance to improve the system and not just for people to navigate and survive it. And so thank you so much for all your work, and I look forward to partnering with Common Sense and with you all in the future to implement this.
Thank you, Andrea. Matilda, I want to turn to you next. So I hear that you're going into 7th grade. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. I've also heard from your mom that you've had some conversations at home with your parents about maybe getting a cell phone in the future, maybe being on social media. So you've heard us all speak. What's your take?
I think this is going to be really good for people and their mental health in general. And also, I don't have a phone or a social media. I have an Apple Watch. And I don't know. I just think it's going to be really good for people my age and also older, I guess.
Thank you.
Got it.
That's good.
All right. Thank you, Matilda. And before we wrap up, Marley, no pressure at all, but if you have anything that you'd want to add, I know that you're using social media right now.
I just want to say thank you because I think that this law is really going to help. It's really stressful to go through school and be really upset all the time because of social media.
It's all right, baby.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I think that it's really helpful because during school I see a lot of my friends really upset all the time. I see me being more upset, not going outside a lot more. So I think it's going to be really helpful, and I really thank you guys. So thank you.
Well, we thank you for standing up, Marley, and they look to you for leadership. Yeah. So no crying here, Marley. I need you, obviously, to stand up for all kids, and I just thank you so much for representing their interests here today. We are so incredibly proud of you.
Tell the kids, don't give up hope.
That's right.
Thank you, Marley.
The cavalry is arriving.
That's right.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Liz. It's been a really thoughtful conversation. To the advocates, the parents, the young people, our elected leaders, this is the day when everything changes. And I'm proud to govern a state that has people like all of you who come out of your own life's experiences and willing to advocate, champion these causes, and hopefully you feel the sense that you have a government that listens, reacts, and also now be enforcing the laws that we think are important for our families. So with that, Kara.
We have some time for some on-topic questions from our friends in the front and the back. If anybody has a question for the governor of the WGRZ or anyone, just move on the going once. All right.
I think you have one back there. Yeah. Jason has
Can
it.
you talk a little bit about the enforcement?
So it's $5,000 per violation. Again, the law goes into effect of January 27. We will have a portal where individuals can file complaints. We will also monitor social media feeds ourselves. And I'm sure with Marley and the other young lady here, all the young people will be reporting issues to us, and we will enforce it, again, with them by our sides.
All right, thank you. Okay. I appreciate everybody. Thank you very much for coming.